Okay, I disagree with you not having a girl sleep with you on dates 1 to 3 and then having a super low body count. I just think that's pretty unrealistic.
Why?
Because usually they're religious or like they haven't had sex for a long time for like a specific reason. And so I just don't know what it is about you, not to be rude, but would make someone want to like give up their virginity after one date.
I mean, I date women who aren't virgins. Why is that?
I was agreeing with you with that laugh. I'm not supposed to talk, remember?
I think you're unmuted.
Wait,
right?
so you expect women...
Wait, hold on. Yeah, go ahead.
So within the first and third date, if they don't sleep with you by then, that's it for you?
I mean, there can be some leeway in certain circumstances, but I mean, I have an idea. I have a fairly strong idea of what I'm looking for in a relationship. I'm not a virgin anymore. I've had numerous long-term relationships. I've had, obviously, sexual partners. Not really interested in waiting more than a few dates to have sex. Do you have any further inquiry?
Wait, I got one.
Hold on. Let's go back to her. Go ahead.
I do remember you saying you disagree with being friends before dating because of the risk factor of like a girl using you or kind of like stringing you along. Like you're against being friends before a relationship.
Is that material to the current conversation?
Well, kind of.
Because we can talk about that, but you're kind of changing the topic.
Well, kind of, because you're saying like, if you're going, well, maybe not. Actually, yeah, maybe not.
Okay, so let's get back to the topic. So
see, she watched your broadcast.
Yeah.
I see the pick me shit now. I get it. They all kept up with you. They know what's going on, so they over here acting a certain way on purpose.
Why would you get mad that somebody else actually did the research for the show they were going to go on and you didn't? That's
well,
insane.
because they messaged me a day ago. Okay, sir?
You had a whole day to research.
I have a job. I live in LA.
A whole day,
I live in LA. I have a job. I'm not going to care. I just came to support.
What are you griping?
Aren't you happy I'm here?
Why, how's she a pick me because
I
she
damn
did a
near get
research?
you all the
That's
money.
nuts.
Just let me talk.
Shh. Okay, let's get through the topics here. So the criticism was that I have an expectation of hooking up relatively quickly, but I also have a kind of, at least in your purview, a difficult to reconcile or contradictory similar position of desiring a woman who has a low body count or who's even a virgin.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So the way I typically answer this, obviously, if the woman's a virgin and I'm interested in her, there's going to be a bit more leeway in terms of how long I'm willing to wait. I'm not interested in getting married, so obviously if she wants to wait for marriage, total mismatch there. Wouldn't pursue it. She shouldn't pursue me. I shouldn't pursue her. For a woman who's had a previous sexual encounter or who's dated men before, had sex, I'm going to take into account her standard for previous men. So if she's had 2 long-term relationships, her body count's 2, and she made those previous 2 guys wait 3 months before sleeping with them, I will take that into consideration. I'll make an assessment of, am I willing to wait for her? That could be the consideration there. However, typically what you find happening is women will have, in college, they'll have a string of hookups, casual sex, one-night stands, fuck a guy within 30 minutes. And then once they're 22, 23, they get older and they're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't move like that. Now they want to make me wait 3 months, 10 dates. You can do it. I respect it if you want to wait. I don't think you're a bad person if you do, but it would just be a mismatch in terms of how long I'm willing to wait and how long they want to wait. So in which case, it could be a conversation or we just wouldn't pursue the relationship, essentially.
Yeah, but I believe you've said before that you would only wait 3 days. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that's kind of why I'm confused, because it's like, imagine somebody did wait 3 months. Are you going to wait 3 months if that was the standard?
I think I just answered it. So if that was her previous that's how she moved with her previous relationships, I'd be more inclined to wait. But knowing that that's not how you previously moved, I'd be like, well, hold on. Is this a genuine value, or are you just trying to leverage sex to get something from me? Do you not genuinely desire me the same way you genuinely desired those other guys that you fucked within 30 minutes of meeting them? In which case I wouldn't be interested in her. Look, people are willing, you could, a woman could have slept with 100 men previously within 30 minutes of meeting them, and then guy number 101, she could make that guy wait 6 months before sleeping with him. I think that's a raw deal for the guy, and I would instruct the man, you don't have to pursue this woman. In fact, that's a bad deal for you. Don't pursue her.
It kind of makes sense, because it's like, why would you switch up with that one person?
Yeah, but I don't really, I think maybe part of your criticism is, okay, well, women who are inclined to sleep with you relatively quickly
Exactly.
They must certainly have high body counts, but you want women with low body counts, right? Mm-hmm. I actually don't think this is the case at all. Although it could be an indicator for a woman who is promiscuous.
I think it would be.
Promiscuous in the sense of some people will view sleeping with somebody quickly in and of itself as promiscuous. But in terms of the number of sexual partners, I don't think it's actually necessarily an indicator.
It's a pretty good fucking indicator.
I think there's better indicators. There's far better indicators.
That goes back to my question of like, what is it like about you
Brian,
on a date?
if you're at a bar and a chick comes over and she sits down with you, and by the end of the night you're going home with her, it's a pretty good indicator.
Yeah.
I don't go to bars.
Yeah, but if you were at a bar or anywhere, in any social setting, whatever it was.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, Andrew. I would say that her being at a bar is a bigger indicator of her promiscuity than how quickly she will sleep with somebody.
Okay, but in any social setting in which you went home with the woman the same night, I would say it's a pretty good indicator that she's done that before, or has at the very least had other sexual partners, and probably many of them, to be that sexually loose.
Well, let's examine the reverse scenario. So let's say a woman who you meet in one of these venues or at church or some other, respectable place, I suppose, grocery store, Trader Joe's, you meet her and she wants to wait until marriage. Is this an indicator that she does not have a promiscuous past?
No.
Right.
But hang on.
No, you hang on, Andrew.
I just responded, though.
Okay.
So I'll say this. I think if you met a woman at a Trader Joe's who said that she wanted to, date you long term and didn't want to sleep with you immediately, that while that wouldn't be an indicator that she hasn't slept with many, many people, it would be a better indicator that she hasn't than if she's willing to go home with you the same night of. And I think that you would agree with that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it can be used as
so all we're looking is at chance, right? I'm going to agree with you. That it's not 100%, falsifiable. So you could have the one chick, you're her second or even first sexual partner. She wants to go home with you that very night. I just think that that's far more rare than it isn't. And I think that the chances that a woman wants to go home with you night one is a better indicator of promiscuity than if you met her at a random Trader Joe's and she said that she didn't want to sleep with you immediately. Doesn't that track?
Yeah, sure. I'll certainly grant that it could be an indicator. It doesn't mean a woman could be a virgin and sleep with a guy immediately too.
But I don't think that.
I'm just asking about chances. Don't you think the chances are better? Just better.
Oh, sure. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So when she says, to get to the spirit of kind of her criticism, she's saying, well, look, if a woman does want to sleep with you within the first 3 dates, that may be a better indicator that she has a loose past. Though, in Brian's defense, right, and not even playing devil's advocate here, because I believe this 100%, in modernity, that's actually very difficult to tell now. Because women will go the chastity route on a dime, even having had 60 or 70 former partners, because they don't want to disappoint the man. They don't want the man to think badly of them, right? So they make them wait. That's been a very common theme that I've heard throughout this show. So I think there's a point both ways. But to ask you directly, here's the Brian paradox that I can't reconcile. and maybe you can help me with this. Many women will say, listen, I don't want to sleep with you immediately because I think you will think worse of me. I want to, I'm just not going to, because then you'll think that I'm a slut, right? Isn't that then making Brian's point that ordinarily they would do this? They're just basically adjusting for the outcome that they want.
I mean, it could, but I don't think that's the case most of the time.
What do you mean?
I think it is. Well, I think
Sometimes
I used to think like you did. I used to think like you did until having talked to so many women at this point. It's very common that women will rack up these high body counts in their 20s, and then in their late 20s or early 30s, they will then say, okay, I'm chaste, or I'm not going to have sex anymore, or because I've slept with men very quickly before, I don't want that kind of guy anymore. I don't want the playboy. I want more of a like kind of down to earth guy or normie or whatever, right?
What about the women?
Hang on, let me finish real quick, and then I'll let you jump in, I promise. If that is the case, and it does seem to be the case, then, I mean, Brian's paradox does stand, which is like, what do you do about that, about the fact that so many women will only become kind of chaste because they don't want the man to think poorly of them, sleeping with them too quickly?
What about the women who actually like saved themselves in their 20s and teens and was just in 30s, and then once they got to 40 realized like all men are terrible, then they had their little get in their groove back type? What about them women? Because men are just, everyone they met was just trash and didn't deserve them. What about them?
What about them?
What you mean, what about them? They deserve love too.
Okay,
because those the women y'all don't speak on them though. You speak on what you're attracted to. You're attracted to a woman who sleep with you the first day. You're meeting the that all in their 20s and stuff. It's women out here that's not like that.
Yeah, I agree that there's women out there who aren't like that.
So wait, what about them?
Meaning what you're saying is just what you're looking for. That's my point. What I see. You're saying everything you're describing. I don't even know. Like, that's terrible women. So that's what you're looking for.
No, I listen, I agree with you.
That's what he's looking for and what he's going to get.
Those are terrible women. Well, hang on. Listen. You've made kind of a conflation here. So I agree with you on one point and then disagree on a second point. The point that I agree with you on is, yes, a lot of fucking horrible women, right? A lot of horrible women.
I bet that's
the point I don't agree with you on is that because a woman's willing to sleep with you quickly, that means she has a high body count.
I don't think that. I didn't say that. He said that. I don't think that.
Yeah, but then,
because she can like you more than everybody else.
What is your objection?
Because she can like you more than everybody else, and you was the one person that she allowed to be that way with.
Yeah, I agree.
But
totally agree
the objection was that he's gonna meet that because like every woman he's describing, he's like, oh, when they get old, they want to be this. I'm saying, what about the ones who are already like that and then got fed up and got old and probably got fast then and started to sleep with people that still.
Well, I'll grant that such women exist where they stay chaste throughout their 20s and 30s and then go
You're
through their
looking for the ones that sleep with you the first night. That's why.
Hang on, I just let you go.
You gotta let him
respond real quick.
Let him talk.
I will grant to you that those women exist. I just think it's far more common in the reverse that women usually go through their hoe phase in their 20s, not in their 40s. You would agree with me there, right?
I don't, because
I mean, they're the most pursued in their 20s. So if they're the most pursued,
but I don't
their
think
chances of having sex increase drastically. That's why most women in their 20s go through it, not in their 40s.
Well, I can't believe that because I'm a woman in her 20s who don't do that. So
I know, but what about your peer group? A lot of them do, don't they?
Yeah, and there's some that don't too.
Yeah, there's some that don't. I agree with that too.
So I feel like it's half and half.
So let me just ask it to you like this. Don't you think that's far more likely you're going to run into a woman in her 20s who's going through a hoe phase than run into a woman in her 40s who went through no phase?
I don't, hang
on. Let me finish the question. How do you even know how to answer it if I can't even finish it? So don't you think it would be more common to run into a woman in her 20s going through a hoe phase than a woman in her 40s who went through no phase? That's the question.
You said rougher to find love?
Yeah, wouldn't it be easier to find a woman in her 20s going through a hoe phase, a woman in her 40s who went through no phase?
No, because there's innocent women everywhere.
Yeah, that's not my question. I didn't ask if they exist.
I said
I
no
asked
then.
which was more common.
No, I don't think it's more common.
You think it's more common that women go through to their 40s without ever having any sexual partners? That's insane.
See how y'all...
No data bears this out anywhere.
You see how when I talk, you don't let me finish, then you interrupt me, but as soon as I can try to continue...
I'm letting you talk right now. And all you're doing is using your time to complain. Just go.
Okay. It's women everywhere. It's 4 billion people in the world. Like, it's women who fucking live in a cottage. 8 billion people.
8 billion people in the world.
Okay.
8.
Okay, great. Oh, you couldn't wait for that, huh? That's a joke. Got you.
Well, as your English teacher, I have to correct you on these things.
You're right, Mr. Watson.
8 billion.
Wilson.
Go ahead.
You're right, Mr. Wilson.
Mr. Wilson, get it right.
You're right. Okay, but listen, it's women who live in a freaking cottage who's not thinking about none of that, and they just used to living in a cottage. So no, I wouldn't say that's half of women. I would say wherever you live, that's them women, and then wherever he lives, that's them women, and I think that's what you're pursuing, and that's what you get and what you're looking for. Like you said, women, you want a millionaire, you want this, it's delusion. I think you're delusional as well.
Okay, well then, now you agree that I just let you go through that. Let me just ask you a few yes or no questions, right? None of them are going to be preloaded, meaning I'm not loading them up with like presuppositions, okay? Just basic yes or no questions. Do you agree that women generally are more attractive in their 20s than in their 40s? Not all women, just generally women are more attractive
yes,
in their 20s
I agree.
than their 40s.
Generally, yeah, usually.
Okay.
Usually.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so if that is the case, then wouldn't that necessarily expand the amount of sexual partners available to women in their 20s?
No, because when you're beautiful,
What?
because when you're beautiful, I would know. Listen, to a beautiful, broke my scale woman. I personally feel like when you're beautiful, it's harder because you don't know who to give your love to. You don't know who to give your anything to, so you hold out more because they don't deserve it and you don't want to give it to the wrong person.
Okay, listen, hang on. There's a couple of presuppositions there which are wrong, or just suppositions that are wrong. So the first one is most women are not over the top beautiful. That's insane. You have to agree that most women are not 10 out of 10.
But
otherwise, hang on. Otherwise, we wouldn't have an average. So the thing is that if most of them are average, hang on, let me finish.
The baddest.
Let me finish. If most of them are average, they're still going to be more attractive in their 20s than in their 40s, which we agreed, which means that even the average woman is still going to have way more access to sexual partners in their 20s than their 40s, right?
Average doesn't mean you're not f***ing though. Like,
that's my point. That's my point.
Okay,
that's
no,
my
but
point.
you're saying they're more attractive though, and I'm saying that doesn't mean like what you're saying about looks don't mean that they're doing it more because they're in their 20s and young. It's not about that.
If they're more attractive and they're average, they're still average in their 40s. They're just also average in their 20s.
No, because some people get better with age.
You already agreed that most women are more attractive in their 20s than their 40s. Oh, no. You already agreed to that.
Because some people get better with age, and shoot, they get surgery and stuff and start looking better sometimes.
Then why did you just say that women on average in their 20s are better looking than they are in their 40s?
You said, is it true majority are? Yes, but I said that don't mean they're sleeping with people and being fast. I said you could be average getting fucked, and you could be any type of look.
Yeah, don't you understand that your own logic says that the women who are in their 20s are more attractive, they have more access to sexual partners, therefore that's why.
But that don't mean they're using what they got.
I just listened.
You gotta let him finish. You gotta let him finish. Go ahead.
If that is the case, that there's more attractive in their 20s, they have more access to more sexual partners, that would explain why it is that they have more sex in their 20s with more sexual partners than in their 40s. It's because of availability.
I still don't agree. I don't even, like me personally.
Based on nothing?
No,
based
but
on how you feel?
No, based on my life. I don't think at my 20s.
That's how you feel. That's anecdotal.
Yeah, because at my 20s, I didn't do much. So I think people say that, and that's not true.
All right, let me ask you.
You're not young, fine, in your 20s.
Okay, well, okay.
So I'm answering from a 20-year-old who a lot of people like.
I get it. You're not fast and loose, great.